Welcome to the Bold Money Revolution podcast. This is your source for straight talking, no fluff, business and high performance conversations that add real depth and value to the way bold leaders live, work, and thrive. I'm your host, Tara Newman. I'm here to show you how to optimize your performance as a leader so that you can grow a business that is profit-rich, efficient, and allows you to generate real, tangible wealth for yourself and others. We are here to help you lead with your values, to perform without overwhelm and burnout, and to do your most important work in the world. Hey, it's Tara Newman, and this is the Bold Money Revolution podcast. I'm excited to be here with you today. And last year, 2022, we recorded a ton of more than a dozen case studies, case stories of women from the Bold Profit Academy. I started to notice a trend where people just really wanted to hear the behind the scenes, the real results, nothing that is hyped up, glitzy, glamorous. They wanted to know what it looks like to get results as a mom with kids, as a single person with no partner involved, with maybe working a full-time job and doing it on the side. We wanted to start hearing from some of these typical results instead of the atypical results. And so this year, probably once a month, we're going to have these case stories coming out on the podcast. I'm going to continue to record them this year. I'm very excited to introduce these women to you. They are very real. They are getting some of the most amazing wins on a weekly basis. I'm excited for you to get to know my work and how I am in relationship with the women in the Bold Profit Academy. I'm hopeful and hoping that hearing some of these women's stories are inspiring to you. And I also hope that they get you off the fence to join us in the Bold Profit Academy. I hope that they make a difference in your decision-making journey. And what I'm also really committed to doing this year, more so than any other year, is transparency. I want to be really pulling back the curtains, because it's so important for you to see what is really happening in business. And I'm somebody who does transparency very well. I'm someone who does vulnerability very well. There are tons of podcasts on this show of me just talking about mistakes I've made. I've talked about my bankruptcy openly. I've gone on other people's podcasts and talk about this. That was the other thing. As I was guesting on podcasts last year, I always ask, I say, what is your audience really struggling with right now? And how do you think that I can be of the most service? And the response that I always get is can you please just be real? Can you just talk about what's really happening, not what we see on social media? And so that's really, I'm challenging myself, folks. This is me leaning into my edge around how transparent can I actually be? And so that's really this podcast episode where I'm going to take you behind the scenes of the testimonial process. I want to share with you, I'm calling this my testimonial transparency policy. So I want to share with you how this works behind the scenes and maybe what we do and why you are hearing from the women that you're hearing from when you hear these case studies. So, and I also know that so many of my clients and the women in the Bold Profit Academy really struggle with social proof and testimonials. I have struggled with that myself. And I think it's twofold. I think it's us feeling who are we to demonstrate these results? I know for me, I always want to be clear that these are my clients' results. I don't want to put my hands on their results, but I did have a role in them having this outcome. And I always want to be clear around what that role is. I don't ever want to take anybody's power away from them. I'm very present to the inherent power dynamic that happens when you are a coach or a teacher or a mentor or something like that. And then there's the part where so many women that I work with, pretty much all the women that I work with, really struggle to even acknowledge that they have wins. We have an amazing, epic wins thread every Friday in the Bold Profit Academy. that just makes me smile ear to ear. It's why I do the work that I do, is to see the growth, to facilitate the growth that is happening in this container. And sometimes the win is just posting on the thread and not ghosting on acknowledging and claiming and celebrating a win or being proud of yourself. So I think we struggle with testimonials in our work for those reasons. However, demonstrating that your product or service works is a critical step in your sales process. Adding testimonials to a sales page can increase conversion by 34%. That was a statistic from Opt-in Monster. And honestly, I've seen it be even higher. So, done directly, these testimonials, these case studies, this social proof builds trust with your customers and needs to be a part of your sales strategy. The problem is that many buyers today feel business owners only show the clickbaity, atypical results. The other problem is honestly, you do click on them, right? So you are giving it that attention. So it's something that as marketers, we need to really, and I should say probably as ethical marketers, and I don't say that as a buzzword, I say that as a value. It is something that we need to be considering. So my clients and audience feel uncomfortable talking about their wins and their own accomplishments, and therefore the accomplishments their clients get, because it's a byproduct of how amazing you all are. It's a byproduct of your skill set. It's a byproduct of your strengths. And so this energy around your own progress, around your client's progress, makes it challenging to collect the required social proof, and creates an inner tension. When you see other people using atypical testimonials, you immediately go into that mindset of oh, I don't want to be like them, which is really pervasive and can hold you back. It has held me back in the past for so long. Oh, I don't want to be like them. It's taken me a lot to kind of move past that one. So I'm pulling back the curtain. I'm sharing how we collect and decide on what testimonials to use and distribute testimonials and case studies. And if there's any part of this that you like, feel free to swipe it. Swipe away. So, one, start with the end in mind. We are committed to creating a program that is designed to achieve clear outcomes. We're not even at the testimonial phase. It's how we've designed the program from the beginning. It's designed to achieve clear outcomes. This is not guesswork. When you come through the Bold Profit Academy, I know what results you're going to get. You might get some additional ones, and that would be amazing. But this is intentionally designed. This is tested. This is tweaked and evolved. To be consistent, we document the progress that Bold Profit Academy members get on a weekly basis. We document things that we don't even share. We have pages and pages of documentation of results and wins, big and small. We document the progress for ourselves and for our clients. We want to be able to share with them and remind them of the journey they've taken with us, of the journey that they've been on for themselves. All right. And we use that data to make things better. Do you notice we haven't even gotten to a testimonial or a case study yet? Right? This is all happening internally. We use it to make things better. These pages of examples of our work that usually never even make it to our social channels. It's proof for us. And it allows us to ask questions and get answers. Does this program work? Are the folks getting the intended result? What needs to be tweaked? When are we going to tweak that? Is that a priority? Does that even need to be in the program? Right? So it's about us making the program better. 4, we use it internally in the program first. We share these examples and these testimonials and these case studies within the program to demonstrate what good looks like. We pick a variety of wins that most of them would never consider wins. We make sure that we encompass different stages of business that people might be in. This is what it looks like if you're in startup. This is what it looks like if you're in growth. This is what it looks like if you're in stabilize. and so on and so forth. We show them what good looks like so they know they have a metric, they have a barometer to see their own results. And we also celebrate big numbers because we want to normalize that among women. So we're celebrating the everyday, the day-to-day wins, the small wins, the tiny steps, and we're celebrating those big numbers. 5, have clear process and procedure. We have an SOP, a standard operating procedure in the business where we track and ask permission to share their outcome publicly. We give them options is to have the identifiers removed from the content to make it anonymous. And if they say no, we respect the fact that they say no. So we have a clear process and procedure in which we're engaging and getting permission to share these outcomes publicly. So important. 6, be honest and willing to show all. So we have an SOP where my team puts out a request for a case study interview. And we do not cherry pick these. We don't only show atypical results. Every person who raises their hand is interviewed. We don't go, oh, well, Sally got a better result than Jane, so we're going to interview Sally, but not Jane. Oh, sorry, Jane, we don't have the time on our schedule to have that interview. Oh, sorry, Jane, we have more than enough already. We interview everyone. If they've raised their hand, we interview them. It's a part of being transparent. And I actually have great case studies of people who got a result, but it's definitely not the result that they came in to get. And it's likely not a result that they even thought that they would experience. For example, I have a really great testimonial around somebody who went through the program and was like, hey, Tara, listen, thanks for this. It was really helpful. And I've decided to go get a job. Right? That's a win. That's huge. That saves them so much time and effort and energy and money. And I'm willing to talk about that because number 7, keep it real. Keep it real. These women are not coached on how to show up for these interviews. We give them some questions ahead of time because they panic about being on the podcast and they're like, they get a little nervous. And we want them to feel comfortable. But I ask them to have a normal conversation with me. Everyone is asked to just be themselves. And every one of those interviews is released unless for some reason somebody asks me not to release it. And that has never happened. So they are recorded and they are released. That is the commitment. It doesn't matter if this person sounded like they were high vibe or like maybe they weren't too high vibe. They weren't high vibe enough, right? I'm not critiquing and judging these women. They are showing up as themselves. They are being vulnerable and they are being authentic and they are being real. And that is more important than anything else to me. And every time I do one of these podcast interviews, I really love reflecting just on how they are on the interview. Number 8, we prioritize long form case studies so our prospects can have a complete and often nuanced picture of reality in someone else's words other than mine. Listening to someone talk with me for 30 minutes gives you a good indication of how I really am and who I am in relationship to the women in the Bold Profit Academy or with people who work with me independently, right? And I think you really need to hear that and understand that in order to know if I'm going to be a good fit to work with you. And 9, make the truth marketable. Make the truth marketable. So this is where we give it a snazzy title. We give it a good title for SEO. We give it a title that is going to be exciting and interesting for you to click on, and that has an aspirational outcome, but all titles are true. Okay? All titles are true. And so that's really how I want you to think about it. Not, oh, I don't want to put something out that's clickbaity. Oh, I don't want to be too markety. No, I want you to make the truth marketable. So at the end of every podcast episode, I say, hey, reach out, DM me, let me know your insights. I actually have a different question for you here. I want you, and this is very bold of me, and this is going to take a lot of courage, but I want you to hit me up either on Instagram at the Tara Newman, DM me, leave me a voicemail, text me, or email me, tara@theboldleadership.com, and tell me, what would you like to see us do differently or better with our social proof? I'm giving you an opportunity as a stakeholder, as someone who is in our community, who listens. Let me know if there's something you would like us to do differently or better with our social proof. And if any one of these pieces of our process resonate with you, I'd love to hear that as well. How did you feel on the receiving side of this podcast? How does this change your maybe perception of the case studies you're going to hear from us? I would love to hear that. So make sure you take a little time and send me a DM. If you found this podcast valuable, help us develop more bold leaders in the world by sharing this episode with your friends, colleagues, and other bold leaders. Also, if you haven't done so already, please leave a review. I consider reviews like podcast currency, and it's the one thing you can do to help us out here at the Bold Leadership Revolution HQ. We would be so grateful for it. Special thanks goes to Stacey Harris from Uncommonly More, who is the producer and editor of this podcast. Go check them out for all your digital marketing and content creation needs. Be sure to tune into the next episode to help you embrace your ambition and leave the grind behind.